If you started a podcast, what would the subject would be? A podcast, yeah. Podcast. Well, podcast is really good. What's so like? What is okay? Let me tell you one thing. What exactly the podcast? So, podcast is a kind of like a something that ki the people who actually talking about some certain thing. Okay, it's not interview. Interview is a kind of like a something like that the people who actually ask question and another person give the answer. It's little bit kind of like something like interview, but it's not interview. Podcast means like that there is a two people who is actually enthusiastic for some certain thing and they are talking about similar subject. Means like that, like मान लेते there is a two people who is actually very enthusiastic for the photography. Okay, and they just came and they are talking about their photography. They just actually sharing the moment that how I took this photo, how I took that photo, how I took this and that. It's a kind of like something like sharing a moment, sharing experience. It's not kind of like a something like asking bunch of questions to each other. No, it's not. Yeah, somehow it's kind of like something that you should supposed to be asked such a question, but most of the time it doesn't really feel interview. It felt so kind of like a something like a conversation between the two people who is actually enthusiastic for photography, enthusiastic for another thing. Okay, so that is called podcast. Okay, so if you wanted to create any kind of like something like podcast, what would be, what kind of like a subject would be, uh is that key probably, yeah, regarding about the photography, because I like photography, yes. And some of the life and some of the things. But as also is this thing na ki I wanted to be talk to such a person who is actually like I didn't really knew, or kind of like a something stranger. Why stranger? I think that he usually, when the people is actually around me, like when the people are kind of like something very close to me, I won't be able to share so many secrets to them. Why? Because of that ki those people, I knew that those are people are around. Okay, but when I talk to the stranger, like I haven't really talked to the stranger, but I think that he usually sharing some sort of thing with the stranger is might be bit really comfortable. Why? Because of that it's a stranger. Another thing is that ki you won't be able to meet after time, or maybe kind of like something required a very specific reason to get another, but usually you are kind of like something stranger. So it's just like that ki you are a bit more comfortable to talk some sort of thing with a stranger. Okay, and like I'm not gonna say that ki I really required kind of like something stranger, but it's kind of like something like that ki I need a kind of like a like-minded people. Okay, like-minded people are really essential. That the people who is actually thought process are kind of like something equivalent to you, and it's really hard to find in this world. Okay, yeah. So like basically is this thing ki if I get like-minded people, okay, like I could talk anything regarding about any subject and anything. But yeah, the person meant to be kind of like a something like-minded. Like-minded का मतलब क्या होता है? Okay, so have you ever understand that कि some of the people are wanting to say so many things, and they just don't really want to let other people to say. Like it's just like that कि आपके ग्रुप में हमेशा एक बंदा होता है जो बहुत बातें करता है, बहुत बातें करता है, ये ओके, एंड ही वाज काइंड ऑफ लाइक अ नॉट स्टॉपिंग. गर्ल्स में बॉयज़ में हाँ हमेशा एक एक बंदा होता ही है. ओके, अगर उसको हटा भी दो तो भी कोई ना कोई इंसान होता है जो बात करता है. एंड एज ऑल्सो लाइक बेसिकली बिकॉज इन योर ग्रुप, बिकॉज यूर फ्रेंड. ओके, तो यूजुअली आपकी सो जो सारी बातें होती है, लाइक जो भी बातें होते हैं, वो काइंड ऑफ लाइक समथिंग kind of like something like that कि connected to you or connected with your focus and connected with your group and kind of like that. यानी मान लेते कि स्कूल के 4 बच्चे हैं या कॉलेज के 4 बच्चे हैं, तो पॉइंट ऑफ कन्वर्सेशन क्या होगा कि भाई कॉलेज में ये बन दिया ये, या कॉलेज में ये असाइनमेंट है, ये स्कूल है, या ये टीचर ने इस तरह से किया वगैरह वगैरह. ओके, और काइंड ऑफ लाइक समथिंग इफ़ यू आर बिट रियली क्लोजर तो आप फैमिली के भी इशू थोड़ा बहुत डिस्कस कर पाओगे. ओके, बट इट जस्ट लाइक दैट कि I don't know how do I supposed to express this thing is I think that कि मुझे लगता है कि the people would get more comfortable with a stranger instead of the people around. Okay, the people who is actually that you know. Okay, probably. Okay, so But is that like, okay, just focus on the question. Okay, if you wanted to create a kind of like something podcast about which subject and who do you want to talk to them, who do you want to be with, well, who do you like, basically what subject would be, I'm going to talk about the photography, but with like-minded people. Yeah, so that I could talk and he could talk and I'll also share the moment, share experience and this. All right. Yeah. Next question.